But I need to get my alerts. Right in the center. There we go. Fucking hell, my hands are shaking. I love the PBs. Why can't I find this image? So that's mine. That's the text. There it is. Okie dokie. Right, so if I do video call, pop out. There we are. And
You
then...
want to sort yours out.
Yep. Oh, I know. See this one? There he is. Oh, that's fitting. That's fitting quite well, that actually.
Yeah, one sec. Forgot my camera was that fucking wide, like, can't have an unmade bed in the background. It's not a good look, is it?
Mate, if it's any consolation, mine's never made.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, welcome on in, buddy. So, guys, for those of you that don't know, this is Josh, or Jomeseus. I am pronouncing that right.
Yeah, Jomeseus. It's just a tag. It can be pronounced either way.
Ah, right. Thank fuck for that. I thought I'd butchered it then.
No, you can't butcher a made-up word, mate.
Well, yeah, that's true. So, for those of you that don't know, I think I actually said this earlier on. It was actually, I found it really fitting that it was Josh that messaged to say that he'd come on tonight after I've just done an RE3 run, because it was actually Josh that taught me this run.
I helped Venusaur do it as well when he did his first run.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah, I never knew that. I actually raced Venusaur, I want to say about 4 or 5 weeks ago now.
That's how I actually met him. I met him from teaching him.
Right. Well, I think what it was, I was live one Saturday night. I'd been to the pub, so I'd had a couple.
Yeah. Had a skinful, like.
Yeah, basically. And he's in the chat, chatting away, talking about my run, and I was asking him about his, and I just said to him, bollocks to it, shall we have a race? And I knew I was second favourite in that. I knew that for a fact, because his PB is a lot quicker than mine. But
RE3 though, mate, RNG can play a mega part, like.
Oh, gee, yeah, just a tad.
Yeah.
So, what was it that got you into RE3?
Well, I'd always played Resident Evil with like my younger cousin and that. It was my older cousin, not younger, older cousin. It was just something we always did together. It was like our thing. So if there was a new Resident Evil game, we sat and played it. It was just what it was. My auntie played it first, and then we got it, and then it went from there. And then I always liked speedrunning, but I was always on the fence about like, could I actually like do this? Because it always looked like it was unattainable. Because you see these people doing these mad, like, massive menus and stuff, and you're like, my speed's never going to be there. And I was watching speedrunning when I was ill, and I just thought, you know what, one day I'll just pick it up and try it. And then, yeah, that was it. I was like, if I start with speedrunning, I'm going to do the annoying one first so I can go to the easy ones. And that's why I started with RE3, because I knew it was pain for everyone.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably because of the RNG and just how badly the game can fuck you. I'd probably say it probably is the most difficult out of the series in my eyes.
I think it's the most difficult to get good at because you get burnout with it dead quick.
Yeah, especially when, as you'd have experienced yourself, when you're having run after run after run where the RNG is just not in your favour at all. You know, you're getting four
Oh
kills,
yeah,
you're getting
yeah.
half
Like
the
when I spent 9 hours in basement on one stream. Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Got a
I'm
lot of
very
time
aware.
doing that.
No, you don't, mate. No, you don't. It got to the point that I banged my keyboard and stream shut down because I
Oh
got
wow.
that angry. I just punched the thing and it just went restarted. I went, well, that's the end of the stream. Sack it. I'm not doing it anymore.
Now, obviously, with yourself, it's not only speed running you do, is it? In fact, I think when I first met you, I want to say you were doing, I want to say RE2 hardcore shotgun only or something like that.
Mm,
You had a spell
yeah,
for a while, didn't you?
you came with Kaz. Not Kaz. Cam.
Cam.
Cammy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cat. You came in because I'd met Kat first because she was doing. I think she was doing a speed run with you on RE5,
Yeah.
and I was doing a challenge on RE5 with a mate, and she raided. And I met her, and then I think you came on another raid when she was doing something solo, and it was when I was in my challenge stuff. So it became kind of a thing because I was getting a bit burnt out with RE3. It was like, just give me Resident Evil challenges and I'll do them.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff people submitted was not even funny. It was not even funny. Like the RE2R one you're talking about, we had to look up if it was actually possible first. And the guy who looked it up said it was, and then realised there was a second part to the spreadsheet that you actually can't kill Birkin one without crits.
Yeah.
And you need 6 crits
Yeah,
in
and
like
I think I remember that stream. I think you spent a good hour and a half just fighting
oh, 4 hours,
Birkin one.
4 hours at Birkin one it was. 4 hours waiting
Oh,
on the
did you?
crits. 4 hours, yeah, on the first Birkin fight. After that, the game became like, all right, I can do this now. But the first Birkin fight, because you just don't have the shells.
Yeah. Well, I remember Kat and I were watching it. I think we were watching you for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we had to bugger off because we were going out the following day. But I remember sitting there watching it, and I'm watching this G1 fight, and I kept saying to her, I don't think this is possible. Like, I really don't think it's possible. I don't think it's doable.
Hmm.
Did you actually finish that run in the end?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Wow, well done. And that was on hardcore as well, wasn't it?
Hardcore, shotgun own. I'll tell you the actual rundown because I have a bit on my Discord that has the challenges on it. So I can always pull them back up. So it was Leon 2 remake, hardcore, shotgun only, no red or blue herbs, no defense items, no fast.
I mean, that just sounds like pain.
It was pain, mate. It was pain. That and Birkin 2 because I couldn't use stun grenades and stuff to stun him. So getting him to get hit by the cargo container was brutal.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, I used to think that I'd be up for Resident Evil challenges. Obviously, I've played quite a few of the RE3 mods, and they can be really punishing.
Yeah.
City of Ruin comes to mind. That's just, I think, the furthest I've got on that. I want to say the train on the way to the clock tower.
All right, yeah.
I've only got up to there once, and I didn't realise that you're forced into the Nemi fight. You can't just turn around and leave.
Oh, yeah. They've locked you into it because they thought that'd be fun.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not expecting it. I'm thinking, yeah, cutscene, skip the cutscene, turn around, bosh. And I must have had, I think I had one first aid spray and my pistol with no ammo. I was like, well, that's just not nice.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the RE mods is that there's one of two categories with them. That either really nice and just they're looking at RE3 a different way and sending you on different paths and stuff, and it's just a different way to experience the game. Or they're literally made to be more challenging because people like Wolf, Lewis, Holy Soul, people like that just blast through them. So it's like, well, we have to make this difficult then just to get people to get content out of it. Especially like, who is it? Who does the mod? Who's the Chinese modder who does loads of them?
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki does some, and Ketu.
Ah, yeah, Ketu. I've heard of Ketu.
Yeah. So they do like really, really difficult ones. Like if you ever want to watch a really hard run of RE3, watch Wolf's Ketu run, and it's unreal. Even the man speed run it, and it's like there's RE3 and then there's another RE3 world. So you go through a vent, you end up in a second version of RE3 that has different items. It's mental.
Yeah, I I think City of Ruin's similar. I'm sure there's two different universes. You've got
I think it
obviously
did.
the
I think
mod.
it did take. I think it did take some inspiration from Ketu, but turned the difficulty up with it. So
Hmm.
Ketu was more like, "Where is everything?" Whereas City of Ruin was just, "This is gonna eat your ass, and you're gonna have to just hold it."
Oh, without any shadow of doubt. I mean, I think one of the first rooms that you come into, you've got three Nemesis, two with rocket launchers, and
Yep.
you can't actually progress until you take them down. And
Yeah.
I remember watching Lewis do it. Of all people that play mods, Lewis is the one that I watch the most. I really get on with Lewis.
Yeah, I get on with Lewis as well. He's a really. If anyone hasn't ever seen Lewis, if you ever see him live, go check him out. He's a very, very humble, nice guy, and he's
Oh,
just a
100%.
genuinely nice bloke to be around. Like I've never really seen him get angry. I've seen him get frustrated at a game, but I've never seen him get angry. He's always like, "Okay, let's just stop a second, go back in," and then he'll just reset. He'll just reset.
Yeah.
He, he doesn't stay tilted, which is a rare thing for streamers, I think. Like you
Oh,
either have to have this, you have to have to very certain personality, or you have to have like the self awareness and control that you're losing it, and that's very hard to do, especially when you're engrossed in something like mods or speedrunning.
mm.
It's like when I see people like I don't know Secret and people like that where they lose a run that's like a PB run or close to a record, and they just go, "Oh well," I'm like, "How the hell are you not throwing shit?" I would be losing my mind.
Well, see, I remember one of the first OG Resident Evils that I speedran was RE1 OG. Because it's a decent one to learn. Number one, I think there's not very much RNG involved.
Mhm.
The routing isn't too difficult to pick up. Once you
Mhm.
know, obviously, once you've watched a couple of runs and you start doing it yourself, it's really easy to pick up.
Yeah.
And I remember, I mean, this is almost 2 years ago now, and I was on a run, and what was it? There was some particular reason why I needed it to be a good run. I want to say there was somebody in chat that I was trying to show off to, which sounds very
Okay.
much fucking like me. And I was
Yeah.
on
Like.
I
Yeah.
was on a mega pace. I think I was on like 47 seconds of time save or something like that.
Nice for
Um,
RE1. That's really rare to have the time save that large.
yeah, and I got to Rob Zombie, the last
Yeah.
fucking zombie in the game,
Yeah.
and he bit me and he killed me. I remember bouncing my controller off the floor because I was so angry and frustrated, more so with myself than anything. Because
The thing with RE1 though, it's misleading because there's no caution signs.
mm,
It's very easy to lose track of where your health's at.
100%, yeah, you have to make
Like
sure that you keep on top of it.
because like in RE2 and RE3, you start limping, you start getting visual cues that you're in trouble. In RE1, you don't.
Yeah,
So so it's very easy for you to be like, oh, I'm okay, and then you just get tapped once and die, and you're like, oh,
yeah. Well, actually, maybe I'm not okay.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I think that was back when I was running at like, I want to say I was pushing for sub 42 at the time, give
mm,
or take. I mean, my PB on it now, I did manage to get sub 40. Left it alone
nice,
for, I want to say, nearly a year. I got really, really burnt out with one OG. Um,
yeah. Well, there's no variety in it.
well,
That's the thing.
exactly. It is a
It,
very vanilla sort
it
of run.
it's just a game about optimization. Are your lines on point? Are
Yeah,
you this? Are you that? It is very, very stagnated, and there is like you do this and you have to do it correct. So when you start making mistakes, it's a lot harder to keep going because you're like, well, I've just hit the wall again. I've hit the wall again. Whereas with something like RE3, where it's like branching paths, different weapons, ammunition, things like that, and when you do die in RE3, you don't feel as bad. You do, but at the same time, you can blame the game for its RNG.
yeah,
You have that like, oh well, it's the game that's done it, not me. You have that secondary buffer, whereas in RE1, it is all you. So if you throw a run, you've thrown the run, and that can be more tilting for some people, including myself. That's why I won't touch RE1 because I know I'll get obsessed with it. I'll get obsessed with it, and I'll tilt myself off the edge of the planet.
yeah. And that's the thing with three. Obviously, you know yourself. I was explaining this to Aaron, my flatmate.
Mm.
Um, one of the things that made me go to it, which is also one of the ones that's the most frustrating thing about it, is that it's not one where you can just solely rely on yourself. Like, you can be running really well, and the game just decides, nah. Like what happened with me earlier. I mean, okay, my strats weren't exactly brilliant, but I was on really good pace. I was feeling confident. Get to Asinemi, and he's just like, nope.
Are you playing on controller, by the way?
I am still using controller at the moment, yeah. So I was speaking to Vinu about this, so I do have plans eventually to move over to keyboard.
You don't need to. You don't need to. This is the thing. This is the common misconception people have. So, you know Holy Soul, the knife god?
Yeah.
He plays on controller.
Ah, I never knew he played controller.
Yeah, he plays controller, mate, and he has all the knife records. It's not about that. It's about optimization. So, the only thing you need to implement onto controller, because you're familiar with it, if you switch to keyboard now, your movement's not going to be as good, and you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to have to relearn muscle memory and this, that, and the other, and you're just going to go back a good few minutes and have to grind it back up. So it's better to stick on controller.
Okay.
I would recommend mapping DIC to a toggle, so you know, like an R3 or an L3.
Yeah.
Because your hands are already there, you can just click it without. You're not going to hit it by accident.
Yeah.
So having it on something like that would make it easier. Because even if you get 1 out of 5 DICs, you'll save nearly 20 seconds across the board.
Right. Okay. And how is it that how do you actually map DIC? Because I've heard of it.
So when you go onto the binding of keys on the launcher for the RE3 Taiwan Rebirth version, it has a thing at the bottom that says use secondary inputs for controls, and you just map left and right to the same button.
Oh, right. Okay.
So all I do, like, I have it on Q. So when I see the yes no prompt, I just tap Q and it allows me to press yes, like a minute, like maybe 0.2 seconds faster.
Yeah.
But over the course of the run,
yeah, of course, yeah.
It builds up. Like, I think it worked out in total. It's something like 30 seconds time save with just the IC alone.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely worth me looking at then, because
it allows you to pick up items quicker. It allows you to solve puzzles quicker. It allows you to do this, that, and the other. It's all very much micro optimization. Like, you don't need it unless you're going for like sub 45.
Yeah.
But it is a habit to get into, because if you don't have it and you get to that sub 45 and trying to implement it, then will be more difficult than if you've got the muscle memory. Because you got to bear in mind, menus stay the same.
Yeah.
So if you implement DIC at a low level, it will carry over to the high level because the menu prompts and the text are always the same.
True.
So it's just something that you'll get better at as you're progressing as well. So you'll see more time save from just being DIC. Like, for instance, DICing on the water puzzle, for instance, can save you 1.4 seconds on high medium.
Right, okay. That's
because
I'll have to have a look at eventually. I mean, to be honest,
it is like super. It's like this is on the same level as like Carlos YOLO. Like, you know what I mean? It's when you're going for like pure optimization. But Gal said it to me and it made sense. It was like, if you start doing it now, you won't need to worry about it when you start trying to get good times, because you'll already just be doing it.
Well, yeah, like you say, obviously, when it comes to muscle memory and whatnot,
yeah,
that is probably something that I should have looked at right when I started learning.
Because it's the same thing, you know. It depends what your goal is in it. Like, my goal is to get top 10. That's what I want to do. I want to get top 10 on Rebirth and Vanilla on any percent. That's my goal. Because I said to myself, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get top 50, and within a month, I got top 50. And that was before Rebirth was split. So I was top 50 in a month. And then I was like, okay, let me go to RE2. Played RE2 for about 3 weeks and hit nearly sub 50 with Leone. I was like, okay, so I'm at a good point with this now. So I get bored very quickly if I don't have a goal in mind.
Yeah.
So my goal right now is to get sub 43. So my overall goal is to get to top 10 eventually, but I just want to get sub 43 now, because I'm only 9 seconds off it. Okay. So it's not like I've got to like get like a minute 20 seconds. It's like, it's literally 43.09 is my PB. So it's, you know, one cycle worm, it's first code at RPD, little things like that, and that's it. I've got it.
Yeah.
So for you, what I would say for you is start noticing little things, because I'm not here to pick at you by any means. I'm thinking about little time saves you could have. So you know when you equipped the grenade launcher when you went into the Nemi fight on the last run?
Oh yeah.
That slows you down because you were equipping the grenade launcher. Two-handed weapons slow your movement down.
Yeah, as soon as I equipped it, I thought I'd have been better off starting with the pistol, if anything.
Mine thrower has exactly the same movement speed as pistol.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
See, the mine thrower, I've not really noticed it with, because a lot of the time, I think that run then, that's the first in maybe about 20 runs where I've actually had early powders. The vast majority of the time, I've been finding I get late, and I hate.
So with the mine thrower, you have to be careful, because if you shoot too many bullets in it at once, they don't go off properly.
Okay.
So you can quick shoot it like a pistol, that quick.
Yeah.
So what I do with it is I'll go like bang bang, shoot two into it, let them explode, shoot two into it, let explode, shoot two into it, let explode. By that point, you can shoot 1 or 2 freeze rounds into Nemi before the cannon goes off.
Yeah.
Once the cannon goes off, if you know where the second battery is at the top, if you stand on that when the cannon goes off, you can slip around Nemi to the left, straight into the crevasse.
All right. Okay. Do you know what?
And then,
now that you've said that, I remember you telling me. And do you know what? I remember you telling me about the mine thrower now as well. It's kind of all coming back to me now. Because it was quite a while back that you taught me that run, wasn't it?
Well, I haven't uploaded a speed run to speedrun since last year. December 2021 was my last PB.
Right. Okay.
Because I took a massive break from it because I was like, I got burnt out with it. Then I had to format my PC, lost all my splits and everything, and I was like, I haven't got the heart in me. But recently, I've been getting that itch again.
Yeah.
So that's why I came back to it today, and like we were getting good sub 44 paces, and mate, I'll have to highlight this run and send it you. It is the ultimate cook I've ever seen out of RE3. Ultimate. I'm not even joking. Like everything that could go wrong went wrong. Fat turbo by Buck on 3-point turn. Double turbo outside of basement because I got out with 200 HP. 4th code RPD. Hunters in labs. It was like anything that could take time took it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's just see what time we finish with this. Nemi jumped back up in the last fight.
And you know, I sort of mentioned that in that fight. I've only ever seen that once.
Yeah, I've never seen it before, mate.
Yeah, well, at the time, I didn't even know that was possible. And I don't think it was that he'd jumped back up. He just didn't jump down.
Yeah, no, I've seen him not drop down, but he dropped down. I was fighting him, and he jumped back up. And I was like,
never seen that one.
I was like, how's he gone back up there? And he came down, and somehow I saved 5 seconds in the fight.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so RE3.
Yeah, we all know what it's like.
Yeah, but the thing that I would say to anyone who's even looking at speedrunning RE3 is just enjoy the game and its mechanics. Like, take the little victories. If you get a dodge, that's it. You've made the run. You've got a dodge. You've done the tech. You get a good menu, sorted. You know, you've done your mixing right. You've done this. Look at the positives in the run each time, because if you don't, when you only focus on the game fucking you over, you'll never enjoy the game ever.
Yeah, and again, this was something I mentioned. I can't remember if it was today when I was running earlier on, or a couple of nights ago when I was last running, whenever it was. What I've now started to notice, especially watching other people, is I would probably say that for every 5, possibly even for every 10 runs that you watch, you'll probably see 1, maybe 2 completed runs.
Yeah.
With RE3, and I don't say this to try and deter anybody, because I really, really enjoy running it. I kind of like the idea of not knowing what's coming.
It keeps it fresh. It keeps it fresh.
Yeah, for sure. But with me, the way I see RE3 is you are setting yourself up for more failure than success. Now, if you can understand that and you know what you're getting yourself into, then it is a very, very enjoyable run.
This is what I always say to people who are doing RE3. And it's what I was trying to say to you and in the runs this morning. I know the game was absolutely just not letting Acid Nemi play fair. I know that. But when you were getting to certain points, you were like, fuck's sake, I was like, it's future time save, future time save. You know, keep that in the back of your head. If something goes wrong in a run, that's time save in the future.
Mm.
It's a place you know that you've got a couple of seconds there. So like if you're edging a PB, you've got it in the bag. It's those little things you've got to try and keep somewhere in your brain to stop you throwing the towel in. Because I used to get really, really. The reason I spent 9 hours at basement on that stream was because I couldn't allow myself to get out of basement with that 180 HP.
Yeah. No, I get that. And do you see the funny thing is when I'm watching somebody else, or if I'm trying to teach somebody to speedrun. So, for example, you know, when me and Kat were starting to learn 5, or when I taught Amel RE3 remake, that's what I always kept saying was, you know, look, if you make a mistake, don't let it bother you. You just know then that in the next run, it's time save for you. I say that to everybody who I watch, but then when I'm doing it myself.
The thing is, when you're in the moment yourself, it's frustrating because this is one thing that I'm guilty of myself, and I'll never ever say to people, you shouldn't be doing that, because I do it myself. Whatever you do, don't look at the fucking clock.
Yeah.
Because it will ruin every run. You'll see every 2.2 seconds going away, and you'll instantly be like, oh, the fucking run's over. Not forgetting that there's 30 seconds time saver on the corner. You'll look at all the little red numbers and start to get tilted.
No,
and another thing I always say as well, if you're behind, just finish the run. Just finish it. Unless it's like beyond the point that it's not even worth it. Finish the run, because if you keep resetting, you'll forget how to do the end game, and your muscle memory will drop off.
Yeah, and it was RE3 that taught me that. Because I used to do it a lot with Code Veronica. I'd get halfway through a run, realise that no, there's not enough time save left for me now to be able to PB this run. So I'd reset. And then what I was starting to find was that happened for a good 6 or 7 runs on the bounce. Every single one of them before the Nosferatu fight. Now, when I used to run Code Veronica consistently, I got very, very good with that fight. And then, you know, I had those good bunch of runs where I'm losing time at the beginning and I'm resetting. The next time I then got to Nosferatu, I completely closed it.
Yeah.
Like you say, I'd not had that practice. I forgot what I needed to do.
Yeah.
See, the funny thing
it's not that you forget what to do. It's that you without even knowing it, you panic, and you start making mistakes, and you're like, I know I need to stand here. What am I doing? And then you start thinking about the mistake you're making rather than getting back in the fight.
Yeah.
And that's it. You just lose. It's the same with Acid Nemi, right? I have 3 backup strats for Acid Nemi.
Okay.
If he misses the first valve, the second valve, and the third valve, I have a backup strat for each of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you're aware, but you know on the second Acid Nemi, when he says stars, stand on the side of the pipe he's on, because it makes him attack, because you're in close range.
Right, okay.
Whereas most people are like, make sure you're on the opposite side of the pipe so you can get away. Don't be close to him and just bolt.
Yeah, and do you know what? That is something I'm really guilty of, is I panic. Like, I panic a lot. Like, you saw that earlier on when I think it was the first fight. I think I missed the first valve. And I think the second fight was it was either the second or third. I can't remember which one it was.
A good bit of advice I give you: if you're ever in that fight and you feel like it's getting away from you, take a second, get him into the middle of the path, like where the second pipe is. And go to the first pipe again, and it resets as if he's in the room for the first time.
Ah, right, okay. So it kind of resets his movement.
Well, it resets him because he's in. He starts by that valve when the fight starts the first time.
Yeah.
So if you get him back there, you can stand by the first valve again, wait for the step, do it, and reset your chain of order.
Ah, see, I never knew that.
Because he just starts there, but he's facing back to you. That's what the 2 steps are for. But if you have him by the pipe and he's looking at you, it's just the 1 step, and then you hit the first valve again. You just reset the room with him.
Right. That's actually really good to know. Well, obviously, as you've seen, the frustrating thing there with Asinemi for me is,
Yeah.
again, I'd got to a point where I could do that fight quite consistent.
Mm.
I was fine with it, and then
Yeah.
I put RE3 down for quite a while, and what made
Right.
me pick it back up was Team RPD. So we were all saying that we were going to race on things, and I had a three-way race against BML and
Yep.
Matt. Now, when it comes to Matt,
Matt is different, mate.
the thing is, the thing is with Matt, and I've said this time and time again, he is a very, very good runner. He's actually, for me, a rare breed of like
He
very
has
good with all of them.
he's what I refer to. It's the same with like Wolf,
Yeah,
like Wolf DNC. They've played RE that long that the games are just one to them.
yeah, yeah. I can agree with that. Now,
They just go tank controls, got it. Like they can pick up Silent. Like if Matt wanted to pick up Silent Hill and just run it right now, we could.
oh
Because
yeah,
he's just got that. He's just got that. He's got that quick pickup. It's like people like Secret, like Bulk, people who have just got a speed run mind. That they don't look at the game as like, oh god, I've got to learn all of this. They just look at it and go, well, 1 point I'll do it, and they'll just do it.
yeah.
It's mental to me. Like I'm envious of you in a way, and I'll openly say that. Like, yeah, I can beat you at RE3, but I can't run anything else you can run.
So I think with me, what it worked was just experimenting, finding the one that really works for me. Now you see,
Yeah.
with three, like I say, I'm going into this three-way race, and
Okay.
for as good as Matt is, when it comes to RE3, he'll probably tell you himself now. I'm better at that run than what he is because I run it more consistently. He very, very rarely runs RE3 OG.
Yeah, well, the thing with RE3 OG, unless you're speed running it to get a PB, it's a hard thing to watch.
Yeah, yeah, I
No
can
one,
agree with that.
no one wants to watch a casual run of RE3.
No, no, definitely not. I don't think I ever have, and it's a game that I
No,
really enjoy.
I did. I tell you what, Alias.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I dropped into her stream once after doing some speed runs, and she was doing like her first kind of like playthrough of RE3, and she had like 60 shotgun shells in her inventory, and I was like, my head's spinning. Like, why have you got shotgun shells? Like, I love her to bits. I think she's a great streamer. She's got a lovely personality. But when someone plays a game you speed run and you're like, that's unnecessary. You don't need that. Like, and you just like you can't switch off the speed run brain.
yeah.
You just can't. It's like you see people like when I was watching a because I did RE5 pistol only with no upgrades with a mate of mine.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but all we had was we did it on professional, no shop. We had the starting pistol. We didn't do any of the upgrades, but the crit chance. That was
Right.
it.
Okay.
So we had the crit chance. So headshots were like our saving grace, but it was like a skill run rather than a proper full challenge. It was skill. Like we couldn't use any items on bosses, so we had to shoot Irving to death.
Oh Jesus, yeah, that was difficult.
It actually wasn't. We got in tune and kind of nailed it. Same with we did it with the Excella fight as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of us was shooting the inkling, like the little molded on the floor, and the other one was shooting the eyes. It was like it was really good run. Actually, I really enjoyed it. But we did that, and then I went into a stream, and someone's got a Magnum RPG, this, that, and the other, and they're like, "I don't know if I can kill the Ouroboros," and I'm like, "Like, you have the ultimate kit in the world. Like, just make it eat a barrel, shoot it, an RPG. It's dead.
Yeah.
It's done."
Well, you see, when it came to this particular race, now I've raced Matt going into this race. I think I've raced him 3, maybe 4 times. Now, Matt, when it comes to races, is my Achilles heel. I've never been able to beat him, and he's now the only person that I've ever raced or raced more than once and not been able to beat. So
Right.
the first time we raced was RE2R, and it was Claire B New Game Plus. Now,
Yeah.
going into that one, I knew that I was second favourite. I just simply, obviously I've known Matt for a long time. We came up with the idea, and I just thought, yeah, why not? Because the way I
I
saw
don't
it.
want to. I don't want to cut you off. I'm just letting you know your category still RE3. If you want to change it or not.
Yeah, good shout. Um, yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just thinking if
no,
you.
that's fine. So yeah,
I have a tendency to talk a lot, so just tell me to shut up at any point.
so going into that race, I'm like, I know that I'm second favourite, but the way I saw it is like, and I always say the same thing about pool, because in my personal life, I play quite a lot of pool, and I'd I'd said to myself that, well, if I don't take this race, like I'm never going to improve just by doing what's comfortable. You know, I have to try and push my
Yeah.
limits. I have to try and see what I can achieve. So I took that race and he beats me. We then raced RE2OG in
Mhm.
a team tournament, and it was me versus Matt in the final. He beat me in that one.
Oof. Yeah, that's an oof, mate.
Well, we then go to Code Veronica. Now, I go into
Right.
that Code Veronica race and I'm thinking, yeah, I've finally got him. Because at the time I was running it very consistently, running it really well. Out of nowhere, Matt pulls out a 4 minute PB. So at the time,
Jesus.
his PB was 124 and change. Mine was 123 and change. And I'm thinking, I get a decent run. I've won this race. And he just pulled out. Where he pulled it
Fucking
from,
hell.
I have no idea. So we're going
It's
into
probably
this.
pride. With Matt, it sounds like it's a pride thing. Like I've got to win this.
Do you know what I think it is? I think he's now got it into his head that whatever the game is, I just can't lose to Liam
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he knows that when I beat him, because I will one day beat him, he knows he is not hearing the end of it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be like, do you remember when we raced 2 years ago and you lost? Like you're just gonna hold it over him like a dangling fruit. Like
It could get to the point where me and Matt could get very close in real life. And we are quite close in real life, to be fair.
yeah.
We could become best mates. He gets engaged, asks me to be his best man, and on his wedding day, in the speech, I will be like, "Yeah, do you remember when we raced that time and I beat you?"
Yeah.
I'm
Remember when
going.
you weren't the goat anymore, mate?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going into this race, and The funny thing was, the start was awful. Like I think I'm pretty sure I got a 120 basement. I got a 4 code in RPD, and then all of a sudden I just started running. Like the game
Yeah.
suddenly allowed me to start running to the point where we're going into acid Nemi, and I was on. I want to say I was on something like minus 1 minute 40. Like I was on
That's a
massive
big
PB
time save,
pace.
right?
Yeah, where I pulled it from, I have no idea. I mean, to be fair, I got Saf Spring Code in the park. I got
Hey Lingu, welcome in.
Worms, Hunters, Dogs. It was just allowing me to play
Yeah.
for that. So we gets into the Acid Nemi fight, and I died. And I was furious because I'm going into that fight and like I'm not even thinking about the fight. All I've got in my head here is I've already won. Like this now is just a formality. I have already won this race. I
Yeah.
died. B-Mel died. And I think Matt's ending time. I want to say it was low 48, give or take. So it's not as if
Oh,
he'd had a particularly bad run.
no.
What really wound me up is I think with the at the height of the run, I think I was on pace for like a 46:15 or something like that. Which
It's good pace that. It's good pace that.
just before that run then, even then, it would have been a full minute PB. So
Yeah.
to throw away a run like that, I was very
Well, you didn't
angry.
throw it. Here's the thing. You know this, right? This is the thing that people. Going back to our original point before about RE3, you can't blame yourself for acid Nemi. You can't.
No, that's true. That's true.
You can't. Like it's the same thing. Like you can't blame yourself if you get stun locked by hunters and labs. It's one of those things. If the AI decides no, it decides no.
See,
Like
funny thing with that, I was running about a week or two ago, and we was talking about that. We was talking about getting hunters in Dead Factory, and
Mm.
again, when I was running it consistently, I was getting hunters there quite a lot, but I was able to deal with it. So
yeah,
somebody brought up the point in chat. They're like, "Oh, you get hunters down there. It's basically a run ender." And I'm like, "Well, no, it's not because you know you can get by it. Like if I get hunters down there, I don't even, I don't think about what
I just
I'm
do
going to
it.
do.
I just go for it. I just go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you hesitate with hunters, yeah, you'll get stunlocked because you'll let them move and get together. If you just run, eventually they'll let you up.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, I got hunters in Dead Factory, and I got stunlocked. So after all that, like, yeah, no, it's not as bad as what you think. You can do this, you can do. Oh wait, hang about.
No, I had one thing that I've never seen happen to anyone before.
Oh, what's that?
I've had a couple of things, but we had one today. So you know when you get chimeras when you first come off the elevator before you get to Hunter's Labs at the bottom.
Yeah.
The chimera managed to jump and grab me on the stairs.
Really?
Yeah. The one from behind that comes off the ceiling, it came down and just grabbed me, and I was like, "How was what?"
See, I've had hundreds of runs myself. I've watched hundreds of runs. I don't think I have ever seen that happen. Like even once.
Have you seen the Superman chimera?
No, I can't.
Let me grab that clip for you. Right, I'm running as Carlos. This motherfucker turns a 90-degree angle to grab me around the corner.
What?
Yeah, not any mate. It looks like the bastard falls from the ceiling. I'm not even joking. One sec, let me try and.
To see.
Yeah, it's unreal. Where is it? Like, so the second time it happened, it's called Return of the Superman. Because it happened a lot.
This has happened more than once.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is the thing. People haven't seen it apart from with me. I'll just send you the Return of the Superman one because I can't find the other one. This is... Right, so... One sec. You know when you try and share something on Twitch and it doesn't let you fucking copy the link because it's being a dick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still not as funky as the chimera in the alleyway. Sorry, guys, I've just realised I've not even said hello. How are you doing, buddy?
Where is it? Yeah, but I did something that you might be proud of. Right, so here you go. So this is the chimera, right? I still don't understand how it does this, and it's done it numerous times.
Let's have a look. In fact, let's bring it onto the stream.
I like how my camera's frozen in that position. It's lovely, that, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's because I've took the pop-out window out of focus. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll sort that out. And right. So if we go okay, filter this down.
I still don't know how this did it, mate. It blows my mind because it's happened more than once.
Let's have a look.
It's done it again. I don't believe this. Yeah. It comes round the corner. It's done it again. I don't believe this. It's done it again. I don't.
Like, what?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's... If I'd not seen it with my own eyes and somebody told me that had happened, I'd be like, nah, that's not possible.
Yeah, but like, as you can hear me say in the clip, it's done it again. It's like, it's... Gal, who's my mod, right, you know Gal? Yeah. He has said that there's so many things that have happened in RE3 that he's never seen happen to anyone else. It's unprecedented.
Yeah. No, like I said, I've never seen that happen. Up until I watched it then, I wouldn't have thought it was even possible.
Do you know what's another weird one that's happened?
Go on.
So, you know when you're going into bar to get the manhole opener? So you're in that first thing. I've had a zombie 360 on those stairs and grab me from down the stairs.
Hey?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, you really have had it hard with this game, haven't you?
Yeah, well, it was like that one when I came out. Like I came out of the elevator. You do the straight 90, so you run down the stairs. Even with the chimeras, nothing in that room's a threat until you're coming back, right? It jumped, and I think it was the one that was coming out of the pit.
Yeah.
It jumped and grabbed me on the stairs before I could get down the stairs. And I was like, I've never had this happen before.
That's. Do you know what? I think Gal has just hit the nail on the head there. Like, you must just bring out the worst RNG possible.
Yeah, which was the one in the alleyway, mate? I think we had one. I think we had another one today where I got grabbed. Where did I get grabbed from? It's chimeras, right? So I was sat there and I was like, oh my god, it's throwing spiders at me. And Gal's first thing was, we know you and chimeras, mate. Be grateful for him. I was like, yeah, you right, you right. Maybe that's why I don't want to run RE1, because there's a whole area where you have to walk past them.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what's putting me off subliminally. Like, these more chimeras, don't do it.
So when it comes to speedrunning,
Yeah.
as you'll know yourself, so when I first got into speedrunning, I got into it because of Matt RPD. Now, at the time when I first started watching Matt, I'd never seen the whole idea of speedrunning before. I'd heard about it, but I'd never actually watched it. And it was around about the time that basically about 95% of Twitch was streaming RE2R. Now,
right, yeah. So when the big release came out and everyone was on it, yeah.
Yeah. Now, by that point, when I'm watching Matt, I'd platinum the game, I'd beaten every difficulty, unlocked every bonus weapon. I felt like there was nothing left for me to do with the game, because I've done all of the extra modes as well, like the Ghost Survivors, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I then come in watching Matt, and he's sure that I've got this wrong, but I'm adamant. He was running Claire B New Game Plus at the time, and I'm sure he had the world record, or he hit the world record while I was watching him. And I'm watching him.
He might have.
So I'm watching him do this run, and I'm then sitting there and I'm thinking, you know, if I get into this, it's a way that I can start to enjoy the game again. Like, it gives me something to aim for that I've not yet done. So I picked it up. Funnily enough, my very first run, I got sub-hour, and I went mental, because...
That's crack, mate.
Well, when I started, the very first thing I said was, right, goal number 1 is let's get to a point where I can beat it in less than an hour.
Yeah.
And my first ever time was 58:53, something like that.
That's really good, especially for a first one. Like, this is what people get misunderstood with, right? So with RE games, you beat any RE game under an hour, you're just smashing it. Like,
oh yeah,
it's just, even like people go, oh, I've got 54 minutes in RE3. I'm like, you've got under an hour on RE3. Yeah. What are you like? Do you know what I mean?
The funny thing is, like, so now obviously I'm running. I'm very close now to sub 47 on RE3. When I first started picking it up, the first time I started running it, and I think this is what sort of prompted you to come to me and say, listen, do you want me to teach you the run? Because I was just trying to basically learn it myself. At the time, I'd not watched a run. I just thought, right, I'm going to figure this one out. And it was taking me like an hour 10, an hour 15 or something like that. Which... believe it or not,
it's still good.
I was very happy with. Like,
it's still a good time, right?
And then obviously, you know, you came to me, you taught me the run, and I think my first run that I had after obviously you'd shown me the run and you'd shown me the strats and whatnot, I want to say it was around 52, 53 minutes, give or take.
Right.
So I knocked a good 10 minutes off, like literally just by learning the run, 10, 15 minutes. And then I remember you saying, right, okay, so what's your goal? And I said, right, I want to beat sub 50. And you just said, right, we'll just keep going with it. Very much, you know, similar to what you've said tonight, you know, just keep going through it. Even if you are on bad pace, just get through the rest of the run. Keep going, and you will eventually get to it.
Simple as that.
And obviously now I have, like, by quite some distance. But I remember going through it, and that's one of the reasons why, like, a lot of the time, regardless of the pace with RE3, it is quite rare that you'll see me reset, unless, like, I get absolutely gangbanged in basement or you know, something absolutely ridiculous.
If you're on 140 coming out of basement, there's no point, because You're going to have to get a fast from somewhere. It's going to mess up your inventory. You're already behind, and it's like if you're at that point, it's better to just reset because it's only 2 minutes into the run. You can get back into another run and keep going. Like when I say don't reset, it's like when you're at like park. There's no point resetting if you're at park. You're already at the last third of the game. Just finish it.
Oh, of course, of course.
Like, but if you get like massively battered in RPD, I'm not saying stick with it because it's not good.
No,
it's not good
course,
for you.
Of course.
It'll teach you bad habits of safety fasts. Like you still get the fast in RPD, right?
Yeah.
Right. You can get the fast in admin office, which is quicker than the one in the RPD.
Which one's admin office now? Is that
Right, so you know when you put the pharmacy code, there's a fast spray in there.
Yeah.
It's better to get that one because if you grab the one in RP, so the fastest I normally grab, if I'm having the perfect run, like I'm not like at any point I'm like, oh, I need to get safety fast. I grab the one the news building where Green Gem is.
Yeah.
And the one by petrol station. They're the two I grab. That's it.
I didn't know there was one by petrol station. Oh no, of course. Next to the oil code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm having a bad run and I'm at like 160 by the time I get to the office, I would go to the one in pharmacy because I'll know by that point if I need it or not.
Yeah.
But because you missed the one in RPD, also I grabbed the blue gem before I get the stars code.
Oh right, okay.
Because it comes down right as one input to go straight to the first gem in the menu, rather than being down in the middle.
Right.
So it's one slightly quicker menu.
Yeah.
So it's like little optimizations like that. But I'm not saying, obviously change your whole writing progress and fuck your muscle memory up for it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, for little optimizations. And at your current pace, I would not be YOLOing Carlos at any point.
No,
there's no need to.
So we sort of touched on this a week or two ago. Obviously, you get to a stage where you get in times where you do have to YOLO Carlos, but
yes,
number one, I'm not. I believe I'm still quite a ways away from that. And number two, the reason that I don't do it now is the time that I'll lose if I get it wrong just simply isn't worth the amount of extra time it takes to go and find out what the code is.
Well, to give you an idea, I'm going for sub 43 paces and I still don't have to YOLO yet.
Oh well, there you go. I'm a far.
You're well off. The only time you need to YOLO Carlos is if you're really behind in a run and it's like the saving grace of the run, or you're going for sub 42. That's it. You don't need it at any other point.
How much time does it actually save by doing the YOLO?
About 10 to 15 seconds.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that surprises me. Actually, if somebody asked me, I'd have thought
because it's only 2 door transitions and 1 text. You got to bear in mind.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's like super optimum strats. That's all it is. It's like not grabbing a safety fast difference. Do you know what I mean? It's not like massive. It's like if you're going for world record paces, that's when you need to start doing it. Or you're going for sub 42, like really high end runs. That's the only time you need to do it. And that's only if you need to do it to PB. If you got given the choice to do it or not, it's always best not to do it because it's better to be 2 seconds behind PB without it than be 2 seconds over with it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, still sub 42 doesn't need YOLO Carlos. Yeah, like bear in mind, Pyramid's run of 40 minutes 40. If you didn't have YOLO Carlos in there, that's still a 41-minute run.
Wow.
If you think about it in those terms.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good point.
So there is no reason to do it. The things that will get you faster time is RNG, better menus, DIC. They're the 3 things that will improve your speed over anything. Other than that, there's no point doing risky strats and shit at all.
And
also, I know,
mentioned
yeah,
something that
hugging the walls, as Gal said, like if you hug the walls in RE3, it slows your movement down.
See that again. That's one that I didn't. The thing is with
Yes.
RE3, since the only real sort of research I've done into the run really was obviously when you and I sat and you taught me the run. Simply because I thought, I'd learned more than enough about that from just that. What was it? I think we sat down for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that.
I think it was 30 minutes of me explaining it, and then I asked what were you having troubles with, and I went to the certain rooms and showed you. So I think it was, as you say, about an hour, hour and a half, something like that. It wasn't a long time, because the route you pretty much had in your head, it was the subtle optimizations of like get late crank, don't do this, don't do that, like things you were already aware of, but like because a lot of people get crank early when they're scared.
Yeah.
Like I did, I used to get early crank, and then I actually had to make an alert that people could put in chat that was exclamation mark crank. That was my own self telling me, don't forget the crank bell end, because I'd switched. So it wasn't like I was teaching you anything you didn't know. It was just like, look, you can do this, and it just works.
Yeah.
That was the difference. Like, when people think like, because you can't sit and teach someone a speed run in an hour and a half.
No,
you can't. But you already had the fundamentals down. It was just like, okay, I'm getting fucked up in this room. What do I do? Right, you do this, this, this. It was those little things. So like, these weren't run ends for you anymore.
Yeah.
Like for in the park when the zombies are on the bridge.
Yeah.
You know that last zombie before the gate where the dogs or hunters can be.
Oh, yeah.
Run forward in front of it, spin and run behind it. It can't 360 and grab you in time. You just literally make it take one step and you spin behind it and move.
Yeah.
Whereas I kept seeing you trying to run in front of it, and I'm like, its path auto walks forward. You can't run past it like that.
Yeah.
So if you run a little bit and it takes one step, just run behind it. Kind of similar to the one as if you're heading towards the bar to get the manhole opener.
Oh right, yeah.
How you run in front of it and you run behind it. Yeah, you just run. You just do that.
Right.
Any zombie you have to get past, which is on a wrong way or in the middle of a room, do that. Just run one way. It'll take the step and you run behind it. Every zombie can be dodged like that.
Right. Okay. That's definitely something I'll have to look at. One thing that I do remember, obviously when we had that afternoon when you were teaching me all the strats and whatnot, is the oil code. Because
the trident.
Trident. That's exactly what I was going to point out, because now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have ones where, I mean, obviously the PB that I just got then, it wasn't exactly perfect, but what I used to do was just the whole smash and grab, just like mash all of them and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, you'd said, right, look at it as a trident. And I'm sitting there and I think my exact words were, a trident? The fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
And then you explained it like, right, so the button that you hit is going to affect that one and the two that are next to them. Imagine there's one on the left of A and there's one on the right of D. Now, every button, it's going to affect 3. And then you actually showed it me, and I was sat there like, oh my god, yeah, he's fucking right. And that's one that I have been able to keep ever since. I think I was trying to explain it to Matt, because Matt does the whole smash and grab, just mash all of them and hope for the best. I think that
it was. I'm not even gonna lie to you. At the time, I thought it was a shit analogy, but I had no way else to put it.
But I mean, I can't even explain why, but it was just the way that you explained it. Because that was a puzzle that, by that point, I thought, right, bollocks to it. Never going to figure this puzzle out. It's never going to make sense. I'm just going to have to hope for the best. And then you explained it to me, and I'm like, shit, yeah, that actually does make a hell of a lot of sense.
I think the reason I did it that way is because it's how my brain works. So I look at sequences. That's how my brain works. So I was like, if I make this bigger, it makes more sense to me because I can think there's A and B lit, like there's 0 and A. So if there's one to the left of A and one to the right of A, so B and whatever thing was next to it, I knew it was going to come in the middle. And once I made that click in my head, I was like, right. So if I just envision there's one either side, then that's it.
Yeah.
That is the way for you to do it when there are optimum codes. Like if 3 are lit up and you need to get it to the other one, you just go in reverse order. So if like B, C, and D are lit and you need to A, you just go D, C, B, A, and it just cocks all the way down.
Yeah.
those are things that you can look at, like certain patterns, but at the time, you can't look at his cheat sheet and be like, right, so B's look, because it's just too short. So that's why I came up with the trident method. I was like, I can improvise with that mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do know a couple of people that use a cheat sheet for it, and I mean, for me, there's just I remember trying to use a cheat sheet, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking this is just taking too long because I'm looking at what's lit, and then I'm trying to find that exact sequence on this cheat sheet, and I'm like, there's got to be a quicker way than this, surely.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if I think the quickest that I've done that, like I've been able to do it within a couple of seconds. You know, where it's just like, I don't know, say you've got A and C,
A
and you need B.
and B in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah,
you just click
straight
it.
away. You just know, bam, right, one move.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Those who use the cheat sheet, pause the game.
But you can't pause the game in a speedrun. It's not allowed.
No, that's true. I think there's rules on the remakes where you're allowed to pause for.
Yeah, you can on remakes, because if you go in the menu, the game pauses naturally.
Yeah, because what people, Matt was telling me, what people used to do on RE2R with the coin puzzles is they would go right up to it,
Yeah.
activate the puzzle, and then immediately come out of it, and then pause the game.
Yeah.
Go onto the computer to rewind the VOD so that they could see where they were at, and then they'd look, right, okay, so I need to move that one, say, 3 times, the second one 2 times. And I think that was one of the reasons why that came in.
Well, I know they stopped people pausing it because there was a certain point where people were... How do I put it? They would go into a room, pause the game, look at it and go, like, so I have to take this line like this, and they were literally microing it like that.
Right, I see.
So it was kind of like, look, this isn't a run when you got just basically playing Room Simulator. So they changed it so it was like it has to be a continuous run.
Yeah.
And that's why for a while they made you run real time, if you remember that, before they did games. You had to have a real...
I think that might have been before I started running.
Yeah, they used to make you run on real time, so it was like, yeah, you can pause the game if you want, but the time is going to keep going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
But then people were uploading videos of like this is before like there was time, like when the timers were first coming out. So what they decided to do was go back to game timer.
Yeah.
But you had to have splitters on it that had the same time.
Right, I see.
And that's when auto splitters and stuff came in.
So that's why now, with the OGs, you've got to have the IGT showing.
Yeah.
Right.
And for sub, Gal made me aware of this. Yeah, there you go. Pausing the game is a vector for inserting scripts in splice and runs. So. But the other thing as well is that's why is it sub 42, Gal? You have to have inputs on the screen as well for RE3.
Right, okay. That's something that I'll have to keep in mind. So one thing that I did want to touch on with yourself in particular, and obviously this isn't something that we have to discuss if it's not something you're comfortable with. But I'm sure you've seen, the last couple of weeks, something that I've been discussing on the stream an awful lot is obviously the link between streaming and mental health. Obviously, you know yourself that I've had my struggles, I know that you've had yours. Obviously, there's been times where, the pair of us have took like extended breaks from streaming just because you're not in that good place, and you know that if you go live, it's just going to be an absolute
drain on you. Yeah,
awful. Is there anything now in particular that, obviously when you do get to that sort of place where you are, you're not feeling great and you're in your own head, is there any particular like go-to coping mechanism that you now have in order to try and combat that?
It depends on what I'm struggling with. So if I'm having, because I have fibromyalgia, as you know, so I have physical pain all the time. That's just what I have. So with that, I find that being around other people helps distract me from it. So streaming is actually a good outlet.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm under mental duress, my go-to is for anyone who is watching the stream or is going to stumble across this at some point. No matter how low you feel, don't be alone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go out and hang out with like loads of people because it can be anxiety inducing, whatever. But sitting with a good couple of mates on Discord and playing a game can help a lot.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. You know, go to a quiet pub, have a drink and a game of pool with a friend. Go round to a mate's, have a brew, anything. Just don't sit at home with your own thoughts because you're already being critical of yourself because you're down. If you then start analysing that you're sat at home because you're down, you'll get more down. You have to find an outlet somewhere.
Yeah, and I think the reason that I agree with that, not so much, not as often these days, but something that I used to find is, like, because I'm a massive overthinker. Like, I'll overanalyze absolutely everything. Like, there's always got to be some sort of reason behind something. And what I would then do is, when I was sort of hiding myself away, like you say, you know, sitting in my flat, not speaking to anyone about what was going on and things like that, I was finding then, and this it took somebody pointing this out to me, but I was taking something that was initially something really small, like say somebody has said something and just come across the wrong way or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm in my own head, and all of a sudden this tiny little thing, like one wrong word that wasn't even intended to come across the way that it did come across, all of a sudden it's something massive. Like, that means that they're doing this or they're doing that, and you know, and it was, for me, it was causing a lot of friction with people that I was very close with. So what I now do myself, like you say, you know, I start getting in that kind of place, then I won't just sit in. Like, I'll either go out or I will at least do something that's keeping me busy. Now, one of my go-tos now at the moment is going to the gym, because what I've found since I've started the gym is that, you know, I start feeling down, so I think, right, well, you know, let's go to the gym for an hour, hour and a half, something like that.
It's actually what people think, like, you go into the gym is because you want to get fit. No. It will release endorphins that are natural to the body anyway, which give you a boost. But also, you can also vent a lot of pent-up aggression through the gym because you channel it into fuck this, and then you get this like rush of energy from anger, which is unreal. Like, it's hard to describe. Like, if you're just sat at home and you're down, you'll go down. You'll just go down and down and down, and you'll feel like you got no energy, this, that, and the other. You go to the gym, you start getting angry, and then you vent it on the equipment, and then you come away refreshed. It's an interesting way to look at it. Natural exercise for people does help you mentally. The problem is people think you have to do it to be fit or you have to go to the gym to be jacked. No, like, going to the gym is just a way to vent pent up whatever. It could be emotions, energy, anything.
Yeah.
It's a way to exert it in a controlled environment that doesn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, and what really highlighted that for me was a couple of weeks ago, I'm sat in work. I'd had a falling out with someone that I was really close to. I had a really fucking rough day in work. I was feeling very, very down. Now there's a lad that I work with called Steve, and like he's a big gym head. Like, he's been going for years. So when I first started going, because luckily the gym that I go to, JD Gyms, there's one next door to where I work, so I can literally just come out of work straight into the gym. So when I first
you can vent it straight away, and it's not sitting with you for a bit.
Yeah, so when I first started going, I said to Steve, listen, you know, I've started going to the gym. I've got this workout routine. Can you do me a favour? Can you just come with me a bunch of times and, you know, make sure I'm doing things the correct way? So this one particular day, like I say, I'm feeling really shitty. It was gym day, so I says to Steve, right, have you got your kit? We goes in. Now, when I was walking into the gym, I'm feeling really down about myself because by this point, the argument that I've had, I've calmed down. But then I'm like, oh, Liam, why are you doing shit like that again?
You're getting anxious at yourself,
Walked into the gym, starts doing my regular routine, and Steve said to me, right, we're doing, I think it was shoulder press or something like that. He says, do you want the same weights that we used last time? And I says, nah, do you know what? Give me one up. I said, are you sure? Don't be forcing yourself. Don't be hurting yourself or anything. I said, no, I'm sure. Give me the one up. And he did, and I got through the entire thing. So where I was then going into the gym feeling really down and really low about myself,
it's now an achievement when you've come out.
Exactly. I'm then coming out of the gym and I'm feeling, fucking hell, yeah, we've gone up in weight. That means obviously I must be getting stronger. I'm it's working. Yeah. And I was feeling really proud about myself. Now, I know full well that particular night, had I have just said to Steve, no, do you know what? I'm really not in the mood. I'm going to go home. I'm going to chill out, blah, blah, blah. I know that I'd have gone home, I'd have gone to my bedroom, and I'd have just sat there and replayed the entire day in my head over and over, which would have just made things so much worse.
Yeah, you would have been stuck in the cycle.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I describe, like, mental illness and depression to people as. It's a vortex. So, if you don't get out of it, you'll be swallowed by it.
Yeah, 100%.
And you'll be surprised what little things can help. I'm not saying they work for everyone. There are people who have chronic depression who need serious help, and I sympathise with those people a lot. But for most average people who go through a bout of depression, there is ways to cope that isn't too invasive.
Yeah.
As long as you do it with the right people.
Yeah, and that's that was something else that I really had to learn the hard way as well, is like the people that you surround yourself with, ultimately, I believe that you basically end up becoming. So,
to an extent, yeah, they do influence your daily habits, yeah.
Yeah, and, at the time, we're going back a good couple of years now, but, I was surrounding myself, without even realising it, with people who were really quite negative. Something had happened and there'd be a big drama behind it. And it's something really small, but because it's happened, it's this big issue. And obviously I've then been told, look, you need to have a look at who it is that's around you and what it is you're doing and things like that.
It takes a lot to do that, though. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, it does take a lot from yourself to look at the people you're with and be like, this ain't good for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have sentimental attachments to them, you have emotional attachments to them. But to be able to actually go, nah, is very, very difficult. And the only time you realise for a lot of people, even myself included, was when I met someone better.
Yeah.
When you meet someone who only has a positive effect on you, it's better.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Don't mean to cut things short. However, I am going to have to start making tracks.
Absolutely.
Stuff that I need to sort out ready for work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Josh, I just want to say a very big thank you for coming on and chatting away with us.
My pleasure, mate.
And guys, those of you that have stuck around and been listening to us, number one, thank you very much. Number two, if there is anything from this that I want anybody to take away, is exactly as Josh was saying before. When you do go to that difficult place, when you are feeling a bit down, don't just be on your own with it. And I'll say this, I'm sure Josh will say it as well, to anybody that does feel like that feels like they've got nowhere to go, my inbox is always open. Like what Josh was saying before, if you want to play some games, you just want to sit and have a chill out, have somebody to talk to, just drop me a message. If I'm not in work, I'll jump into a Discord call with you, I'll sit in a text chat, whatever it is that you need to do.
You'll be surprised as well, on that same note, that how being in Twitch chat but not having to be there in person is easier than doing it in person. So if you are an introverted person who suffers with anxiety with people, just jump into a Twitch chat, just watch a game you like, you'll meet people in the community, in every community, who are good people.
Yeah, 100%.
So don't feel you have to push yourself to go outside. When we say don't be on your own, it means don't have no interaction at all.
Yeah.
Just get something, get some interaction, get something. You know, watch a video with your mates on YouTube, bang a film on Discord, and just sit there and watch it together so you don't feel you're alone. You don't have to be in constant conversation and have cameras on and be like, yeah, we're all cool. No, it don't work like that. Just make sure you're with someone emotionally. It helps. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, makes a massive difference. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is, first and foremost, we're going to find somebody to raid, because I never end a stream without raiding somebody.
Just before you
Matt's doing is me winter shit.
I hope other people can hear me.
Yeah.
I myself have gone through a very shit time, and do you know what? I cannot thank Liam enough for the shit that he's done for me over these last couple of weeks. If anybody ever needs anything, honestly, I cannot recommend Liam enough. I really can't. He has literally pulled me out of the darkest place that I've ever been. And I honestly cannot thank him enough. So if anybody ever needs anyone to speak to, Liam is your guy.
And he's going to suck my dick for that later.
You'd be surprised though. You'd be surprised at what you do for other people.
No, but I genuinely mean what I've just said.
It's, you know, to build off of that, you know, sometimes when you are really down, you meet the purest people in life. You really do. You really do. And sometimes when you're down, you have this tendency to push people away. Don't, if you can help it, just listen to everyone who's around you, and there'll be someone who says something where you go, you're right, and it'll just click. The more you're dismissive of people, the more you'll miss that eureka moment that will bring you back life. Just don't alienate. That's my only fear. Like, it's a natural fear for me for other people is to watch them alienate, because we've all been there where we've had that one friend where we wanted to help them, but they didn't speak to us. They didn't do anything, so we were just trapped ourselves watching them suffer.
Yeah.
Don't let that be you, because it's not the fact that people don't want to help. It's that if you don't ask them or you don't try, they can't help either. So if you feel like no one cares, maybe if you're a bit more open, you'll get the care you want, because you can't bridge that conversation with someone who's down if they're not bridging it with you. Because if you go up to them and go, what's up with you? You get on the defensive. You just do. You get on the defensive. You're like, no, there's nothing. Why are you having a problem? You know, I'm guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm guilty of it. But I realised the moment I was like, yeah, things are a bit shit, that people are like, oh, and what's up? Come on, man, I got you. You know what I mean? People, once you do that one little thing of, no, I'm not good, it opens that communication.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, like, and I know this is cliche, it's very much cliche, but like that old saying, a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah, and it is really true.
Yeah, because there's been times where, you know, I've been in that place, I've been really struggling with something, and then I spoke to somebody about it and found that putting voice to it and having that conversation and seeing somebody else's input has made me think, well, do you know what? Maybe things aren't actually as bad as what I'm allowing myself to believe. And that's happened.
The thing that I'll say about that as well, once you say it, you come to terms with it yourself.
Yeah. Oh, massively. When you put voice to it, it has a massive changing on how you feel about it.
When a thought becomes speech, you've come to terms with it. You understand it because you've said it to someone else. At that point, you can start to deal with it. If it's just a thought, you'll just say, oh, I can't get these bad thoughts out of my head. Say them, get them announced, and then you can start actioning them because they're in the front of your brain. Then you've said them, you know what the problem is. So now you can do something about it.
Yeah. 100%.
It's a really healthy thing to do. Even if you don't say it to someone else, say it in the mirror to yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you'll know what it is because you've said it. You're like, well, I've put it into words now. how do I beat these words? And it just helps massively.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Let's
William?
have a quick look.
I reckon sub 47.
And see. No, I'm not doing another run now.
I'll race you.
Yeah, alright. That'd be.
Do it.
That'd be the pinnacle of pointless.
Do it.
No, I've got too much that I need to do now. I was going to raid Matt, but looking at it, I think he's getting ready to come off.
Let me have a look at who's on Resident Evil 3 because I know a few of the runners.
At the back there because he's fucking useless.
Considering we did bring it up. Oh, CB Item Box is actually running it for the first time.
Who's that?
CB Item Box, the guy who does the RE2R runs.
Right, so do you want to drop his username in the chat and we'll throw a raid out?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if they can still hear me, I just want to say thanks to Josh for joining the podcast. In all fairness, you've made myself realise a hell of a fucking lot.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. I'm glad I could help you with that.
And without me knowing you wouldn't do it.
No, I appreciate that. That's a lovely sentiment for you to say. I thank you, but I'm just grateful that you got something out of it.
Oh, it is. The thing is, I've got Liam, and Liam has helped me out through a hell of a fucking lot. To be honest, I'd like to think that I've helped Liam through.
You will have, in ways that you don't know, in ways you won't even recognise right now. Because here's the thing, right? When you're helping and this is going to be a bit of a, I don't know if you can hear me. Is it through speakers?
No, he's got the stream up on his phone.
Oh, right. Okay, so what I will say to this is that when someone's helping you, you're helping them back because it's a long process, but by being able to help someone come to terms with what they're doing, subconsciously it helps you come to terms with what you're doing. And it also helps you resonate that you are helping this person and it gives yourself a boost.
I'll jump on.
I'm literally coming off.
I know, I'll jump on. I'll say hi real quick.
Hurry up, then.
Where am I? There we are. But no,
Alright, bud.
so I will say Liam has helped me out through a hell of a fucking lot. Like, he's helped me through my darkest times, especially as of late. But in all fairness, Josh, what you said tonight, do you know what? I think coming from a third party that knows nothing about me, just some of the words you've said have resonated and made me realise a few extra things that I didn't know that I needed to realise. So all I can say is thank you. I do appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure, man. If I can help anyone in any way, I always will.
I can vouch for that. Right. Well,
And to anyone else that doesn't know me, hi. Bye.
it's right. Did you say,
I love the Captain Price beard, by the way.
Did you say that CB's running RE3?
Yeah, he's doing a casual marathon of all the old games. He's a speedrunner as well.
You know what? Now, when you put the name in chat, I do.
He runs RE2 normally. RE2R he was doing a lot of.
Right, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming watching us today. Really happy that we managed to get that PB. A little bit gutted that we didn't get the sub 47, but I'm
Next time.
I'm almost adamant that the next run now is going to be sub 47. We've had that pace. We made one mistake. We know not to make that same mistake again.
Mate, you're going to smash it. You're going to smash it.
Well, I tell you what, give me a couple of months, and then the next time you say to me, do you fancy a race, I'll race you.
All right. I'll hold you to that. I will hold you to that.
All right, Josh, take care, pal.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Take it easy, buddy.
Okie dokie, guys. We are going to throw a raid over to CBI Box, who is currently playing Resident Evil 3. So please do stick about for the raid. Come and say hello and drop a follow if you don't do already. In terms of me personally, I'm going to be back on at some point during the week. So what I'm trying to do now is obviously manage my time a little bit better, still be able to go to work, go to the gym and whatnot, but still keep up with streaming as well. Because obviously my streams over the last couple of months have been quite inconsistent. And now that I'm getting back to it, and I'm getting back into the habit of streaming on a regular basis, honestly, I've fucking missed it. Like, I've really, really enjoyed myself. But I've talked enough shit now. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and I hope to see you all next time. Take care.